Welcome back. Coming up is transitioning from down dog into high lunge or equestrian. So this is a typical thing that most of us struggle with, and in this video there's no BS. Yes, the truth is coming out in this video about the transitioning from down dog into high lunge. Those of you who are new here, my name is Al. I'm from yogagangia.co.za, and I've created this space to help you to learn how to heal your body and mind at home. And I always leave a tip at the end of the video, so don't forget to grab that as well. And if you are new here, please go and hit the subscribe button and let me know if you like the videos or not by hitting the like button. So let's start. Okay, let's talk about the truth of transitioning. Okay, so there are many factors that comes into play to move from down dog and bring your one leg in between your hands in the front. So number one is the flexibility in your hip joints. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So it's flexibility in the hip joints that's important. Core strength is involved as well, and the rounding of your back forward comes into play as well. Okay, so and then technique. What technique are you using, and have you practiced your technique, and do you know what technique? So we're going to talk about all of that. So the first thing is flexibility in your hips. So we're going to look at that. So now you can always work on the flexibility in your hips by doing yoga. There are many yoga poses that will increase the flexibility in your hips. And then the hip joint, the ball fitting into the socket. So we are all differently built on the outside and the inside. So your ball and socket does not look the same as the person next to you. Okay, so some people, doesn't matter how much you stretch, if the ball is compressing against the bone, it's not going to go anywhere. It's bone on bone. That is the max it's going to reach. Yes, you can change the form of the bone, but it takes about between 5 and 6 years of almost every day working into the hip, and the bone can change, the hips can change. So it is possible to change it. But if you are older, it takes longer. If you're younger, obviously everything is easier. I'm in my mid-40s. I see things getting a lot more difficult as the time go on. So you can stretch your hips up to a point, but if you're built a certain way, you have to make peace with it. And then you get me. I was born, apparently they say I was born with deformed hips. Some of you might have noticed it already. Both hips of mine, especially my right hip. So bringing your knee into your chest is very important, because when you are in down dog and you want to bring the leg forward, you must bring this knee into the chest, as close to the chest as you can, so that the foot is away from the floor. Okay, now if you cannot bring the knee so much into the chest without pulling it with your hands, of course, with using your muscles, it's going to be very difficult to bring your foot forward. Now my right side hip is totally deformed, and I really struggle, and some of you with sharper eyes might see in some of my videos when I do the right side, I always take my leg out and then bring it in when I transition, and it's just how my hip is. Now let's do some exercises before we continue to the other points. Let's do some exercises to stretch into the hips. So child pose for me, to bring your knees into the chest, to get that flexibility where the knee comes in the chest. There are many poses, but I find child pose is quite nice because gravity help you and you can just lie in it. So sit in Vajrasana, arms next to the body, and then you exhale and you just come down, you place your forehead on the floor. If you can't, you can make a fist and you'll feel it's stretching into the groin. It could stretch on the outside, depends where you're tight. But the knee needs to come as close to the chest as possible. And here we stay stretching into the parts that needs to stretch and just hold it. You can also place a block on the forehead if your forehead can't reach the floor. And inhale, slowly come up and slowly lift your head. And pigeon is also another good one to get flexibility in the hips. So press into your hands, bring the knees a bit back and go on the toes. Bring your left knee to the left wrist and work your left ankle up to the right wrist. Slide back. And bring, you can stay here if your hips are very tight, otherwise come onto the elbows and bring the head all the way down and stay here. Stretching into the hips. And inhale, slowly lift your head and come up. Tuck the back toes in, press into the hands, release the left leg, and we do the other side, right knee to right wrist. Work your right ankle to the left wrist and slide down and come down as far as you can. See the description box for detailed video on pigeon pose. And inhale, lift your head and walk closer, press into the hands and toes and release. And bring your knees down and come back into any comfortable sitting position. Now there are many other hip openers you can do. We're just doing 2 today. So please go see my playlist for hip opening, release videos and do them. So if you struggle with this transition, the flexibility in your hips are very important. Okay, and then the tummy strength. Now, when you in down dog, okay, so you lift the leg and you want to bring it forward and squeeze it into the chest as much as you can. So you need that flexibility of the hip to get the knee in there. But you also need the strength of your tummy to do that. Okay, so core strength in the tummy is also very important. So that's something you can work on. Now, planking, we plank on our elbows, is great for that. And what you can do is, you can go in down dog. We're going to do it now. So tuck your toes under, press into the hands, go into down dog. And from here, lift your left leg up and bring the knee to the forehead. And exhale back. And inhale, squeeze the tummy, bring the knee to the forehead and back up. And again. And again. You can do as many as you like. And now stay here and bring the same knee to the left elbow and back up. And again to the left. So, working the tummy, pulling the knee in as much as you can and relax down, and we're going to the right side, to the forehead and back up, forehead. Every time you bring it to the forehead, squeeze your tummy. And now to the right elbow. Inhale up, exhale when you come forward. And right foot down and knees down. Now you can do more. We did about 5 each, so you can do 10. And then for those of you who have a gym ball, I'm going to show you. Let me get the ball. Got the ball. Okay. I must pump it. It's a little bit soft. Anyway, so you come onto the ball, onto your hands. Okay, you're about on the knees on the ball, and from here you're gonna bring both knees, you're gonna pike up. Okay, so you squeeze the tummy to drag and bring your buttocks above your. This is also very good if you want to practice for pulling up into handstands. Okay, but that's not important today. We are definitely not there today. So inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. You can also have the ball a little bit further back. Let me do that. Become a bit forward. So now it's a little bit lower on the legs. And inhale, pike up. It's a little bit more difficult. 2, use your tummy muscles. 3, 4. You can do as many as you like. And relax. Very good. So all of those 3 movements is pulling the tummy in and up. Let me get rid of this. Okay, so we have flexibility in the hips and we have core strength. Sucking the navel in, pulling the leg forward. Then, while you do that, so you up and down dog, and then you got the leg up. You have the flexibility in your hip and you pull the navel in, and now you must round your back, round your back as much. The more you round your back, the more space is there for the knee to go up. So I'm going to try and do it. Let's try and bend my back this way. So if I bring the knee in, my back is this way. But if I round my back the other way, round your back, round it. There's more space for the knee to come in. There's more space. And that's what you're trying to do. So now, because of this hip I have, it's caused problems in my sacral, the lower part. Okay, nobody knows where the actual problems start, but anyway. So I have a very flat back in the lower part of my back, okay? So I really struggle to round my back. And I stretch into the rounding, But every time I stretch into rounding, then everyday life, walking and so, my hip, that's the problem, pulls it back to the other way. So it's a constant tug of war between me stretching it out and my body pulling it back, okay? And it's life. We are born like that, or something happened, an accident and things, and you just have to work with it. So let's work with it. So trying to round your back more. There are some, like I said, all yoga is good for everything. So we start with something simple. Go on the back. Get hold behind your knees. Tuck your chin in. And we're gonna rock back and forth. And you can make the rocking, keep the chin tucked in, as big as you want or as small as you want. And we are massaging the spine
and loosening the muscles on the back. And while you do this, you must suck the navel in and try and make your back as round as you can when you come back up, by keeping the knees as close to the chest as you can. And this just to warm up your back. Very good. And slowly lower yourself back onto the floor. Something I do that really works with helping rounding my back is plow pose. Now, not everybody is comfortable in doing that or can do it, so see what you can do. I have a whole video on explaining in detail for beginners the plow pose, so I will also leave that link in the description box below. So I think it will be good if you guys go check out the description box after this video. Okay, so we're gonna go into plow pose and use your tummy muscles. You can use your hands, doesn't matter. And we go up. And you press your hands. You don't look around when you're in this position. Walk your hands as low as you can down the back and bring the elbows as close as you can to each other. And bring the feet over the head. Sorry, my mouth is right on the mic. And from here, now here it's more into the neck, and I want to stretch more here. So if you bring the legs down and you bring the buttocks a little bit lower down, you'll feel the stretch move in the back a little bit lower, okay? You can also take your hands above the head and get hold of the toes, okay? And you hold it here. Oh, the mic is right. Oh, apologies. I'm gonna put the mic there. I hope you can hear me. And then what I also like to do is bend the knees and get hold of the heels and work the knees as close to the as close to the head as you can, and hold it here. And this is something you're going to have to hold. I will suggest a minute. When your minute is up, release. Bring the arms first this side and slowly lower the buttocks and the legs. Very good. And I always like to do fish pose as a counter pose because it's such a strong stretch into the back. Place the arms, the palms facing down in line on top of your arms. And you press into the elbows. Press your chest up to the ceiling and exhale. Head down, but don't put the head on the floor. Just slightly touch the floor, legs together. Pressing the chest to the sky. And inhale, lift the head first and exhale. Lower the back. Release the arms. Very good. So rounding the back is very important. Doing yoga with a microphone is really tricky. You're upside down, left, right. Okay, rounding the back. So if you have a flat back like mine, it's really, it makes the transitioning so much more difficult. So rounding it off the back with this transition is quite critical. Actually, everything is the movement, flexibility in your hip, tight core, and rounding off the back. And then there is the human proportion that also have a great influence on this transitioning. And there's nothing we can do about it. Now I'm going to show you guys. So if you sit on your buttocks, make sure you sit on the sitting bones with your spine straight, not rounded, just straight, nice and straight. And you straighten your arms. You can put your hands flat on the floor. Look at mine. I'm trying to touch the floor. You can see I can't put my palms, I must lean to the side. I can't put my hand flat on the floor. It's like my arms are too short, or my spine is too long. I don't know which way, okay? So proportions, you can see, I'll turn, so you can see both hands. I'm trying to touch the floor with my palms and I can't. It's just ridiculous. I must take one vertebra out so my spine is shorter, or I must go for arm extend. So you're just born like that. Some people have these long arms, and if your arms are longer, it's so much easier to do this. It's not that they're brilliant or better than you, it's just they built differently. So in most yoga poses, it depends on how you build. Yes, you can improve flexibility and strength, but you cannot improve the build of your body. So I'll show you now why, if you have longer arms, it is easier to bring your leg forward. So you in down dog, and you do your thing, and you bring the leg forward. Okay. Now, if my arms were a little bit longer, okay, this is a lot longer, but it's the only thing I could get. So I'm going to make my arms longer with the blocks. So now, it's so easy to bring my leg forward. It's really, I don't even have to round my back. There's no effort, okay? There's no effort. You can even make it higher. This is a bit wobbly, so be careful when you try this out, because it can easily do that, okay? I'm on holiday. That's how easy it is. So the length of your arms play a huge role. So it's really hard for me to bring my leg forward. My hip doesn't want to bend, my back doesn't want to round, and I have these freakishly short arms. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the technique, because also if you don't know how much you improve. Okay, so now the best way that I found is in down dog, lift the leg, bend the knee, and then you go on the tippy toes here. You go on the tippy toes. Then squeeze the tummy, bring the knee into the chest, and very important, put your gaze, look where you're going to put your foot. This is extremely important. Okay, so on the toes, round the back, squeeze the tummy, look where you're going, and bring the foot forward. Okay, that's the technique. So on the toes, round the back, squeeze the tummy, bring the knee into the chest, and look where you're going to put it. Okay, that you need to practice. Now I'm going to show you how to do it if you really struggle. If you really struggle and there's nothing you can do, doesn't matter how many times you practice it, you lift your leg, you go in the toes, you round the back, and your foot end up here. Take your left hand, get hold of the left ankle and help it forward. Doesn't matter how many times, until you get it where you want it. Okay, so I'm going to show you my right side, my damaged side. Okay, so lift it up, squeeze it. You can see my hip is because it's deformed, it's stuck. The bone is on the bone, so you can see there, right there, and it's stuck. The other side, look how low it can go. So right side, my problem side. So what I do is I go a little bit out to the side, and because my hip the problem is inwards towards the center of my body, but the hips have got more flexibility. The deformed hips got more flexibility on the outside. So I kind of take my leg a little bit on the outside, almost like bring it to the outside of my hand, and then place the hand down. That's how I cheat. And I won't say it's a cheat because there's nothing I can do about it. I think if my arms were a little bit longer, it would have made a big difference, but it is how it is. I have short arms, deformed hips. It is what it is, and you work with it. So you can improve by practicing it a lot. You can stretch into your hips, strengthen your core, round your back, stretch out your back, and practice it. It will definitely make a difference. You will definitely find an improvement. But you must find where your issues are and make peace with them. Okay? And that is that. The truth. We are not all the same. We are not built the same, and it is okay. Tip of the day. Tip is what I do with some of my clients. It's just impossible to bring your foot forward, but you still want to join in the class. Okay, so in down dog, you can do down dog like a pro, but you just can't do that leg thing forward. So everybody's like left leg forward. What do? You slowly come down onto your knees. Come all the way onto your knees and bring the left forward. And place your hands in whatever equestrian or high lunge they are in. And you continue with the rest of the class. Okay, because usually bringing your leg back is easy. You can slide it on the mat back. It's easy. But bringing it forward is really hard. So knees down, come all the way on the knees, bring the leg forward, hands next to the foot. Okay, that's the tip. And no shame to that. You don't have to do everything in yoga. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to hit the like button, and if you enjoyed this video. Ariom Tat Sat.